What is up, everybody? It's Animac here for Anime Uproar, and the MHA final arc is blowing up. Bakugo reveals his ultimate power as his character development reaches its climax. Shigaraki reveals his ultimate master plan for becoming the next Light Yagami and the god of the new world. And Deku may already be too late to prevent a bloody and tragic ending for MHA, so let's get into it. You guys know how this works. Leave a quick like and comment to help this video in the YouTube algorithm. And of course, subscribing and hitting that notification bell is a completely free way to directly support the channel right now. You can also hit me up on Twitter and Instagram at Anime Uproar. As usual, this video will contain MHA manga spoilers, so please proceed with caution. You have been warned. So, when we last visited that massive battle against Shigaraki within the floating UA grounds, a small army of heroes and hero students were all working together and facing off against Shigaraki. And even though Monoma was successfully erasing all of Shigaraki's quirks, Shigaraki was using his own mutated body to fight back against all the heroes. An endless mass of giant fingers and hands was growing out of Shigaraki's body, and he was using this to attack the heroes. However, it is important to remember that this strange finger growth power is not the result of a quirk. All of Shigaraki's quirks are still getting erased. This finger growth power comes from Shigaraki's body itself, and it is just as normal to him as it is for us to grow hair and nails out of our own bodies. This sudden and drastic change in Shigaraki's anatomy occurred as a result of Ujiko's unprecedented and grueling procedure. To put it simply, when he received all of those quirks from All For One, including the quirk All For One itself, Shigaraki's body began to change in an attempt to contain the power of all of these different quirks. This is that whole quirk singularity problem that Ujiko has been talking about for generations. Once quirks become too strong, or once there are too many quirks within one body, the body can no longer handle all of that power, and the user loses control of the quirks and of his own body. Human bodies simply do not evolve as quickly as quirks do, and this is something that Ujiko had tried to warn the world about, but no one listened. Now, although Ujiko's warnings were ignored by much of the world, he continued to research the problem of quirk singularity with the support of All For One. And his solution to this problem was the very procedure that he performed on Shigaraki. He basically insulated Shigaraki from the problem of quirk singularity by drastically modifying his body, which now allows Shigaraki to accommodate more quirks and more power than any normal human body. The explosive growth that his new mutated body is undergoing is a side effect of this procedure. In the latest chapter, we return to the big UA fight, with an absolutely wildin' Shigaraki just straight up surfing on his finger mutations as they come closer and closer to filling up the entire UA enclosure. There doesn't appear to be a limit to how much of this mutation Shigaraki can generate. And so the entire battlefield is now a huge, grotesque mass of mutated hands and fingers. The heroes and hero students who are there are doing their best to beat back the progress of Shigaraki's mutations, but they just can't destroy them quickly enough. They grow faster than they are being destroyed. We see Sun Eater, Nejire, Genist, Miruko, Bakugo, and Edgeshot all struggling against the mountains of fingers that are rushing right at them. And it becomes clear very quickly that trying to destroy all these fingers is not a sustainable strategy. They need to get past the fingers and attack Shigaraki's main body, and they need to do it quickly. Thankfully, the finger mutations are not as strong as Shigaraki's main body, so they can be destroyed, but again, they just keep growing and growing endlessly. Seeing that he has the advantage, Shigaraki uses this moment to go full Light Yagami. He says that with his new body and power, he will create a new world and he will be the god of this new world. Currently, the world is divided and full of conflict, but once he takes power and rules over everyone, the gaps between people that give rise to misunderstandings, fear, and rejection will disappear, because everyone will then be equal in oppression. Everyone will be equally at the mercy of the one true ruler of the world, which is a type of equality, I guess. Bakugo says that he doesn't know whether this is Shigaraki talking or All For One, but he proclaims that he doesn't want to hear one more word from either of them. Although the current relationship between All For One and Shigaraki inside of this one body seems to be complex, I believe that this is primarily All For One talking at this point. Shigaraki never gave off these Light Yagami vibes, at least not to me, so I believe that this is mostly All For One, at least for the time being. I fully expect that the real Shigaraki will take back control of his body eventually. Bakugo then initiates his ultimate support item, area suppressing heavy armor called Panzer. Although quick note, we will have to wait for the Viz translation for the official English name. This armor makes Bakugo look like a human tank or a human mecha as a bunch of high-tech and high-powered blasters appear on his back and shoulders. And then he begins to fire explosive blasts all around him, destroying Shigaraki's mutations in a blazing inferno. The other heroes rush to take advantage of Bakugo's attack, and as Miruko points out, Bakugo is finally learning the art of teamwork. Everyone is doing their part, and there is no room for individual egos in this fight, because without working together, everyone is absolutely screwed. That's why we have Naito and Aizawa erasing Shigaraki's quirk, Kaminari and others giving power to the flying platform, Momo and others repairing the platform mid-flight, and of course the heroes and hero students who are engaging Shigaraki directly, Bakugo included. This really is a massive team effort, and in general, I am a big fan of stories where teamwork plays an important role. The fact that so many heroes have to work together against Shigaraki really gives us a sense of this villain's true power, and it makes this final battle more suspenseful and more satisfying. After hearing Shigaraki / All For One talk about misunderstandings and how they can lead to fear and rejection, Bakugo thinks back to his own experiences with Deku, and we see that Bakugo's character really has progressed so much since the beginning of the story. Bakugo has now accepted his own issues and insecurities, the same issues and insecurities that led him to bully Deku. And not only has he accepted all of this, he has owned it and moved past it. In his 1A classmates, he found friends who were willing to look past his issues and move forward together with him. And so, Bakugo proclaims that no matter what it takes, he will burn away to Shigaraki's main body. And so, Great Explosion Murder God Dynamite, still the absolute coolest hero name, hands down by the way, uses his new ability to create cluster bombs to blast his way through Shigaraki's endless mutations. He does this mercilessly and relentlessly until he comes face to face with Shigaraki himself. As Bakugo prepares to cluster bomb the crap out of Shigaraki's face with his ultimate move, a move referred to as Howitzer Impact Cluster Bomb, the chapter comes to an explosive end. Man, this was intense. And Bakugo really was the star of the show in this chapter. His new support item seems to be nearly as perfect for his quirk as his hero name is for his personality. And thanks to this support item, he is apparently able to become a human mobile missile launcher, and he is able to make use of his explosive quirk to the absolute fullest. I love both the design and utility of Mecha Bakugo, and I am hyped to see what happens next. In my previous MHA video, I said that Endeavor is the best written character in MHA by far, and I stand by that. Nonetheless, I do want to throw some respect on Bakugo's name because he really has evolved and progressed as a character. He's always been a memorable character in the story, but I always thought that he was kind of an edgelord with an anger management problem, and he definitely wasn't one of my favorite characters. However, in these past few arcs, he has shown a lot of growth, and he has now fully owned up to his past shortcomings and insecurities. I also love how he refused to make his hero name more socially acceptable despite being asked to do so I have come to really respect our boy Bakugo. Bakugo learning to function as part of a large and carefully coordinated team is definitely a big deal for his character, but it's an even bigger deal for the story as a whole, because if the heroes didn't use teamwork during this battle, it would have been all over for them long ago. The big question now is, can the heroes hold out long enough for Deku to arrive? Because let's face it, Shigaraki will not be defeated until Deku arrives. The final battle will be one for all against All For One. Deku against Shigaraki. We all know it, but what will happen in the meantime? That's the question. With some sort of threat currently approaching Deku, and with him still being far away from the UA, it's safe to assume that we will be waiting for Deku to arrive for quite a while. So, will Deku make it in time to protect all of his friends? Or will some of his comrades die in the battle against Shigaraki before Deku can get there? I mean, yes, MHA is a shonen, so we're not gonna see like Game of Thrones or Berserk levels of carnage here, but Horikoshi has demonstrated in the past that he is willing to get bloody and to kill off popular characters. So we could definitely see some of the heroes or hero students at UA dying before Deku arrives. Such a tragedy would emphasize just how consequential this final battle is, and it would definitely spur Deku to give it his all in the final showdown. We could be heading for a very bloody and tragic ending of MHA, where the good guys win in the end because it's a shonen, but they still make many sacrifices along the way. Personally, I don't see a major character like, say, Bakugo dying in the final war, but I could totally see the mentor characters like All Might, Endeavor, or Aizawa dying, or some of the less important students like the Class 1B gang or someone like Kaminari. Deku being Deku, even a single death because he allowed himself to be sent to the wrong location would absolutely break his heart. And his rage and regret would turn him into a completely different character, at least temporarily. Such a tragedy would have a massive impact on Deku's personality during the final battle, and it might even allow him to unlock his final quirk, or maybe even a new form. It's possible that when Deku unlocks his final quirk, his body will begin to change as a result of the quirk singularity problem. I talked about this before in previous videos, but this could lead to Deku going berserk and attaining a completely new form just in time for the final battle with Shigaraki. I am leaning towards a major side character dying in the near future, and this loss then triggering Deku to awaken a new form or power. Let me know if you guys agree with this. Will a major character die, and will this change Deku and maybe give him a new power-up? Will the ending of MHA end up being tragic and bloody, or do you believe that we will see a more wholesome ending? When the show first started, I was definitely expecting a wholesome ending, but in these last few arcs, things have gotten a lot darker than they were before. Finally, what did you think of Bakugo's role in this chapter, and of his character development in general? Don't forget to leave your thoughts down in the comments below. I always love hearing from you. You guys know the drill. If you enjoyed this video, leave a quick like and comment. It only takes you a second, but it really helps with that YouTube algorithm. And if you enjoy our MHA content and you want us to keep it going, do me a quick favor and subscribe and hit that bell right now. You can also hit me up on Twitter and Instagram at Anime Uproar. I want to give a big thank you to all of our Anime Uproar patrons for making videos like this one possible. Special thank you to Kyle Salisbury. This man is an absolute mad lad and a disciple of Lord Twigo himself. And I can't forget all of our The One tier patrons, the ones who rise above all other clans, including Alpha Sigma, Pate Hefa, the Red-Haired Fox, Hinokami and Water, the Toasted Chi, Cory McGowan, the Fallen Chosen, Orihime Wukong, Dante Tennell, and Baked Buddhist. Finally, thank you also to our Pro Hero tier patrons, including the one and only Gilgamesh, Angel Cruz, Alicia Octor, Bunny Parks, Fatboy Games, Kaido Might Be a Duck, Ali Vania, and Anime S Code M. If you guys enjoy our videos and you feel that they provide value to you, consider supporting us on Patreon. As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and until next time, see ya, Space Cowboys!